Hey guys, in this video we're gonna see um, how to implement a contract driven development. So as you have seen that we have application where we're gonna creating users. We have a user list. We can edit the user information. So before what we are doing, we are directly mocking using just.function this user service dot create user and returning our own result using promise dot resolve. For contact driven development, uh, we are not using our own response. We'll hit the API and API will give us a response. So why we need to do that? First thing, we have some scenarios when we change the backend code and backend validations, but we will not update our UI as reference to our backend. So that cause a break when we will check in our application. So to avoid those kind of breaks, we'll first test with the API contract. So if the API is satisfied whatever the data you are sending from the form, from the UI, then we're good to go with this UI. Otherwise our UI will gonna break because it will not satisfy with the API validations. It will gonna not call this user service dot create user query. So to how to achieve that, first thing, for API response we're not gonna hit actual database. We'll create our data from DB factory. So first we'll set up DB factory. In test functions will go function test data. Will create another file, that is db-factory.js. So we'll get our data from factory. So we're not gonna create our own response in the test cases. So all the responses coming from here itself. So first we'll import factory, require factory girl, load db factory, factory.define, factory.define. So first we need to see that which call we need a response. So in our test case we have a call user service dot create user. So user service dot create user is calling. We'll see the API resources, APIs. It is calling, that is the create user API. Sorry, we're in a test. It is calling create user query API. So we need to create a response for this query. So we're writing in a structure for this response. So object first thing is ID, factory dot chance UID, and second we have a name factory.chance. Name, we have an email also, email, gender factory or chance, pick anyone, male or female, DOB will be factory or chance, date type, and we have a role, so pick anyone as a admin or as a users, and we have a terms and conditions. It is true. So this response will gonna generate when we hit the API. So first module dot exports dot db factory equals to factory, and module dot exports dot load db factory equals to the db factory itself. So we'll go to our repository first. For that we need an environment when we are running our API. So we are running our API in test mode. So when we are running our UI test case, from our UI test case, the APIs will gonna hit our test mode API, and the test mode API will gonna generate the response from DB factory, and it will gonna send it to the where we have written our UI test cases. So for that scenario, we need to add a test mode configuration for functions. So we'll create another file, that is test mode dot json, and whatever the things we have in test, we'll just copy it, and we are running it in a port number 3002. After this, we need to, in repository, what we need to change, it will normally, when you are going through the execute, when you are executing query, it will, when it will gonna execute or find all, is there. What is actually doing, actually hitting the database and returning the data. But here only we need to intercept, and we need to tell that when you have a test mode environment, don't go for the database, take the data from DB factory and return it. So how to do that? So we're going to write it, if the config dot environment equals to test mode, what you need to do, return a DB factory, dot build. What I need to build, whatever the constructor name we are passing, that means the constructor name is create user query. Based on that, it will gonna search in the DB factory, take the structure, generate the data and send it to you. Query dot constructor name dot then have a data, to resolve it as a result dot okay the data. Dot data and dot catch, I'm going to write it dot catch, we're writing the error, resolve result dot error. So what it is doing, when you are in test mode, it will gonna take a constructor name and build it our data and send it to us. So it's the same thing we need to implement, not for only execute, for find all, not find all, find one, find one and execute, save it. And the next step is to create an environment